Juliet Holness was very upset, so she left the PSC meeting on Tuesday. She was quite taken aback, and she briefly walked out of the morning sitting of Parliament's Public Accounts Committee. She was upset because reports had reached the media that government members did not support a request to invite key audit personnel from the Labour Ministry to a meeting last week. She was upset. She said that she just wanted to go outside to calm herself. She is the St. Andrew East Rural Member of Parliament, and this is what she had to ask of the PSC chairman. According to Juliet Holness, Julian Robinson has been consulting with the media. However, he has denied this claim. It was reported last week that invitations to 2 audit personnel from the ministry to appear that day with other officials could not be sent because there was no majority support. Robinson's suggestion to invite the key personnel was emailed to the PSC members on Monday morning, with a deadline of 4 o'clock that afternoon for members to indicate their positions on the matter. Only 2 members, both from the opposition, replied supporting the suggestion. This morning, however, Roy Clark, a government member, first expressed discomfort, claiming that as a farmer, he does not readily check his emails. He also suggested that the proposal that came outside of a formal meeting of the committee may have been in violation of the standing orders which govern the operations of the Parliament. Mrs. Holness was less restrained, however, accusing the PSC chairman of trying to make government members look bad. She said that Robinson could have telephoned them. She said that she was shocked and she was very disappointed because it means that she does not have any trust in Julian Robinson as chairman. She said that she was shocked that behind the backs of the members of the PAC, as the chairman, he decided to take us as not responding to an email as an indication that they are in objection and did not support his suggestion or recommendation. She said that if you do it again, Mr. Chairman, we are going to insist that only at the meeting, which is what is required, we make our decisions. If you ever do it again. This is what she repeated before taking her leave temporarily of the meeting session. She returned shortly after. Julian Robinson, however, has rejected the allegations from Mrs. Holness. I take strong objection to what the member said, he responded. An email was sent out. 2 persons responded in time. Member Charles, a government member, responded after. I cannot control what the media reports. The same proposal was put orally to the PAC meeting last Tuesday and was supported by members from both sides. The Minister of Labour and Social Security has been at the center of some controversial issues over the exposure of $3.3 billion to loss or misuse over the past 2 years. An Auditor General report has also revealed what appears to be a culture of unresponsiveness in the ministry to findings, lamenting disregard for procedures. It was also reported recently that a series of questionable financial dealings involving the National Insurance Fund, which manages billions of dollars collected from an insurance tax, is now under review. Chief Officer in the Ministry of Labour and Social Security found herself under sustained criticism and questions yesterday as the Public Accounts Committee sought to get answers in relation to the reasons for the ministry's non-response to 60 systematic weaknesses identified by internal auditors over several years. This issue and others were flagged in the Auditor General's annual report on the financial transactions of the government for the period 2019 to 2020. The report was tabled in Parliament on January 12th. According to the report, the weaknesses identified in the ministry's operations were significant and went as far back as March 2017. As part of good governance practices, management should consider the work of internal audit as an important tool that provides independent assurance that an organization's risk management, governance, and internal control processes are operating effectively. However, the repetitive findings from the internal audit reviews and the Ministry of Labour and Social Security's apparent non-responsiveness in addressing the internal control deficiencies suggest management's lack of commitment in establishing and maintaining effective internal controls to help safeguard assets and further achieve its objectives. Auditor General Pamela Monroe-Ellis said that the management's silence on the findings of the internal audit is quite worrying, as this unresponsiveness was also raised in a 2016 report by the Auditor General's Department on the National Insurance Scheme, in which it noted that 27 issues raised from as far back as 2011 were not addressed. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Colette Roberts-Risden, explained to the PAC that the failure to respond should not be interpreted as no action being taken by management to address the issues. I want to assure that 60 outstanding responses does not mean that over the years line managers have not been responding to audits. I use internal audits as a management tool to help me to understand in many ways and in many instances the weaknesses in a specific area. So sometimes the line manager may not have provided individual responses, but we have addressed the matter through changing procedures, changing personnel and training personnel. So I take real exception to the Parliament and the people thinking that I, as Permanent Secretary, do not take internal audit as a significant measure. But committee members pointed to the absence of a paper trail to evidence any moves that have been made to rectify the weaknesses presented in the Auditor General's Department report. In the absence of documentation which shows a response, the only conclusion that this committee could draw is that there is a culture of non-responsiveness. What needs to be done is a clear path of improvement to show that where these issues have been raised, documentation exists to say that they have been resolved. The Auditor General mentioned that the ministry flouted budget guidelines by not obtaining the requisite approval for the reallocation of $36.36 million to facilitate excess expenditure, including compensation, and the reallocation of another $40.4 million. The ministry also failed to submit the quarterly reports to the reallocations authorized by the accounting officer to the Financial Secretary. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you think about the matters that have been discussed and what of Mrs. Holness's opinion and allegations towards PNP member Julian Robinson, who is currently the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.